Let's see here. Keena, we live?
Ever live.
All right, folks. Welcome back. Sorry, we had to switch platforms. We were using Ecamm Live. Their software was causing us big issues, and so we went ahead and switch over to Zoom. So we are back live. We are joined by, of course, Reese Colbert, Black Women Views, Greg Carr, Dr. Greg Carr, Chair, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University, and shortly we should be joined by Monique Presley real soon here. So we'll start again. Reese, you got a chance to congratulate Madam Vice President-elect of the United States, Senator Kamala Harris.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It was such a proud and surreal moment. You know, everybody knows that I am ride or die Kamala Harris. I should say Madam VP Harris. And so, yeah, I was just really, really thrilled to be able to personally congratulate her on just her historic, incredible, monumental win. Nobody was put through the ringer more than Senator Kamala Harris. The campaign against her started in 2017. She had the balls to run, and she ran a damn good campaign, being only the third Black woman to seek a major presidential nomination. That didn't work out, but you know, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and now here she is as VP. And I do want to shout out, I know, Roland, you're probably going to mention this again, Shirley Chisholm, because one of the things that Vice President-elect Kamala Harris did when she kicked off her campaign, it was always a homage to Shirley Chisholm, the great Shirley Chisholm. So this is such a victory it's not just a Black woman victory, because Kamala Harris is now going to be the highest ranking woman, period. You don't have to put race in front of it, in the history of the United States. So it just made me filled with pride seeing these world leaders congratulate Joe Biden. By the way, congratulations, President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
This really is a monumental day, Greg Carr. There are a lot of people who were demanding, oh my God, why can't they call it? Well, they can't call it, but the reality is votes had to be counted. Folks had to be sure. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, also out west, Nevada and Arizona. And of course, he's leading in Georgia. One of the things that I think, and it's so fitting, Greg, Donald Trump had to get the news while he was on the golf course in Virginia, and his ass is out.
No question. First of all, thank you, Paula White, for calling on the African. Thank you for calling on the African Angels. They clearly came. Shout out to C.T. Vivian and John Lewis in particular. I think they probably were first in line. That's number one.
Reverend Joseph Lowry.
No question. You know that you called on the wrong ones. You assume you call on them, they coming for you. Yeah, they are coming for you.
Right.
So at any rate, congratulations to Donald John Trump. I'm sure you've been on the phone with Vladimir Putin securing a place to stay, because our sister in New York, the Attorney General has already said she coming for you, baby. So you better get your passport while it still works.
You know, Tish Jane was doing this here.
Yes.
Tish waiting, baby. She's waiting. Well, these Black women got you surrounded, brother. So you going and golf. Oh, I know you called Vladimir. So, you know, get your extra, get out of there while the getting is good. Smiling Mike, now that your career is over, as the Jacksons might say, going back to Indiana. And I hope and I pray that Donald Trump will try to stay in the White House, because if he hasn't read the Constitution, particularly the 20th Amendment, but your term ends at noon. And so at 12:01, I hope some of the sisters who I've met over the years, just in seeing them around and seeing them on posts in the Secret Service, I hope they send them in first, because at 12:01 they transform from your bodyguards to the sheriffs who evict you from the house, brother. So I hope they let the Black women have the pride of removing you physically, because you can't hang. The sisters I've seen on the Secret Service, I don't think you really want to throw no weight around, bro, because you about to be embarrassed on national television. And so, yes, congratulations, Reese. I know it feels good. This sister right here, it's been a long time coming. And to all those Black people, particularly the sisters like Stacey Abrams in Georgia with 800,000 people, hopefully there'll be a rematch in 24 months when you wipe that food from the governor's mansion. Congratulations to all of our Navajo kin who are the reason why Arizona will continue to be in the blue column. They did that in particularly in Maricopa County. Congratulations to all the Spanish speaking folk. Not talking about the white Cubans and Venezuelans in South Florida. We know why you mad, because, and we'll talk about foreign policy another day, because Biden Harris gonna have to do something a little different with Venezuela and Cuba, because that's why them people voted for against the Democrats. I'm talking about the ones who speak Spanish in North Philly. I'm talking about the ones who speak Spanish in Detroit. I'm talking about the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, and all of the essays who I was told by Black Lives Matter LA strolled to the polls with the Crips and Bloods to put the DA in LA out, but also pulled the ticket for Biden Harris. And congratulations, Joe. 4th time's the charm, bro. Drug you across.
Monique Presley, I just saw a photo on Twitter. Donald Trump had to look at the crowds as he was returned to the White House, as them telling him, get the hell on, get gone.
Yes, bye. Bye-bye. See ya. Toodles. Don't let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord missed you. Bye.
Talk about what this day means and the fact that we will never, ever hear the end of you damn Howard University people.
You know, I'm wearing my blue. I've been wearing blue for about 7 days straight now. I don't know. I was wearing Black Lives Matter. Then on election day, I switched to blue. And this is where we will be, because look at this, just amongst other things, we have just elected a president and vice president, neither of them from Ivy League institutions, which is where this country thought all the smart people were supposed to have come from, which was completely disproven in this last administration. Well, there were a couple other presidents before who made it pretty clear that's not where they come from, but whatever. I'm too happy today to discuss those things. But a historically Black institution, the Mecca, produced this vice president, this Madam Vice President, and as a graduate of Howard University School of Law, I feel pretty good about that. This is an important day. It's an historic day. It's important for us because this country found a way to pull out of the gutter. The country didn't save itself, though. The Black people saved the country. Thank you, Black women. Thank you, Reese. Thank you for all your work. I love you, sis. I want to shout out Joteka Edie. I want to shout out Melanie Campbell, Latasha Brown, Karen Finney, so many people who were just working tirelessly, Donna Brazil, Leah Daughtry, Mignon Moore, just people who were bringing us all together and giving us marching orders, obviously Stacey Abrams, but Mo Ivory, who was working and helping her all along the way. The sisters didn't hold it down. We carried it forward like country on our backs across the finish line. And so I'm thankful. I'm proud to be a Black woman today and that we were able to put the work in and get this done, because this means something for every single little Black and brown girl going forward. They are seeing something. And I'm especially pleased, though I wanted Hillary Clinton to be our president, and she really would have been our legitimate president compared to this person. I do take extra pride in the first woman vice president being a Black woman and the first Black vice president being a woman. That's all good for me.
I think what's so important about this moment, Reese, Monique, and Greg, is that when you look at the reaction for people out there, and you already got, Ari Fleischers of the world on Fox News. Oh, we need to give Trump time to process. Hell no. And the other people who are saying that, we need to reach out to the other side. Hell no. Let me be real clear. The folks who voted for Trump voted to continue racism, voted to continue ignorance, voted to continue all those things. And I'm sorry. Mitch McConnell made it perfectly clear how he leads. So does Trump, Stephen Miller, all the rest of them. Nah, this is like in spades. You run a Boston on that ass. What you do is Here's the thing that I want Democrats to now realize. They have shown you who they are. So when you get the power, you use the power.
Right.
That to me is what I really hope is a lesson, Reese, that Democrats learn from the last 4 years. When you get the power, you use it.
Absolutely. Before I answer that, though, I do want to give some shout outs to, since Monique started it, of some Black women that I think are definitely deserve credit today. You have to start with the Kamala Harris for the People campaign. So that's Maya Harris, that's Joyce, that's Misa, that is Deidre DeGier, that is Kristen. I hate that I'm probably going to miss some people. Jerusalem, Felicia, Kishana. I mean, I can keep going on and on. Maya, another Maya. Mina, Star Jones has been ride or die. There's so many. Star is my big sis. So many Black women who really have been ride or die for Kamala. They may not all be household names, but they put in the work, and they really, many of them made history with their positions in Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. Then you have in the Joe Biden campaign. Yes. So many amazing people. If I miss you, I'm so sorry. And then you have Karine Jean-Pierre, who was the first chief of staff to a vice presidential candidate. You had Simone Sanders. And so there are so many incredible Black women that actually worked the campaigns. A lot of people thank me. I was amplifying the work that they were doing. And that's Senator Kamala Harris, was Vice President-elect Kamala Harris is doing. But we really, really have to give a shout out to those who really did the grind of a multi-year campaign. Monique, look like you wanted to say something.
I do. Okay. But I was trying to figure out how I could say it to Roland without it seeming like I'm saying something contrary on such a happy day. But you know what, Roland? I said when we were on the show a couple of days ago, and I'm going to repeat it now, the Democrats don't have any power that the Black folks didn't give them. So it's the Black folks who have the power. So I don't really have an expectation that the Democrats do this or do that. We got the power. Roland, for the past couple of months I've been working with, we got the power tour. We got power tour with Black Voters Matter and help coordinate for Texas. And that message of love and power is about what Black people can do when we are unified, when we go out to vote, when we set an agenda, when we get together and make things happen. And so what I'm expecting is for the Black people to keep doing that. We now have to place a demand on what we made happen. And so I'm the Democrats as far as I'm concerned. And we're the Democrats because they owe the Black people who from the primary forward ensured that this country come out of a hellhole and have just a chance to come out of a pandemic, a chance to come out of an economic crisis, a chance to survive. So we've got the power. It's no political party. This is power. This is power of the people. And if we aren't the party, there is no party. So I know you're talking to the DNC, talking to the DSCC, all those institutions, but those institutions are nothing without Black women, without Black men, without Black people. And if they didn't find that out this time, I'll make sure they know. And see, they still need us. They need this to happen for January 5th, and that's not going to happen without Black people either.
But here's the deal, Greg. This is what I mean. Greg, I think you understand what I'm talking about power. What I'm saying is you're now in positions of power. You're in the White House. You use it. You don't play soft. Look, Trump and the Republicans, they used it. They pushed it beyond the envelope. And what I'm saying is Democrats often the norms and how things are. What I'm saying is when you have it, use it.
Mm-hmm.
No, of course. And I think we can, there's not going to be any surprise. They've already started. Nancy Pelosi, shout out to Nancy Pelosi, who did not appear on your show. Didn't think she had to. Shout out to Chuck Schumer, who softballed it. And shout out to those who have already started warning folks, and I think Pelosi has already done that, against appearing too left. Hence, we may, maybe, I don't know, that 55% of white women, maybe there are 3 of them in Georgia somewhere that Nancy Pelosi is scared of offending. We know what the Democrats are going to do, at least the Democratic leadership. They are going to take this for granted. So I couldn't agree with Monique more. Black folk are the reason a lot of non-white folk, beginning with black folk. And of that so-called 18%, I don't know, as you know, what the exit poll is saying, that black men that voted for Trump, I don't know how many of those are Afro-Latinos. There are cultural issues involved in that. But as you said the other night, we know that the number one constituencies, led by black women and then black men, were the ones who voted for Trump. Voted for Biden Harris. But we know this. We know the Democratic Party is going to sell black people out. That's what they do. But what we should recognize now, as Monique has said, that black people are voting in their collective interests.
Yep.
And so the clock now starts. The clock starts for a 24-month window to celebrate tonight, have a great time, enjoy all the schadenfreude, see these people. Van Jones, by the way, let me stop here. Van, stop crying. Damn. Bruh, I got some backbone. Look, if you need some backbone, I promise you, Monique got some backbone, Reese got some backbone they can lend you. Bruh, these tears on CNN, I don't watch you. Somebody sent me a video. Yo, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I don't need one.
Go, Greg, go.
Let me pause. Cry on, brother, because anybody paying attention to you. So black people now must push the agenda. That means, Roland, help me, because I know you got the stuff at the tip of your face. You can still register to vote in Georgia to participate in the runoff.
December 7th. The deadline to register in Georgia is December 7th. And if you're going to be 18 years old by election day, January 5th, you also can register for this election as well. The reason that's important.
You can move to Atlanta and register. No, there are people moving. Yeah. The deadline has not passed for residency. If you've got 3 quarantine months to spare, you're working from home anyway. What would Jesse Jackson say? Move like somebody. Get yourself to Fulton County and make it count. You know, you've been waiting to go to the South. I'm sure there's some Bloomberg money somewhere. Somebody got some money to take care of some apartment for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. You might want to stay, because I'm not saying be fraudulent. I'm saying move like somebody. But the point on having an agenda, can't agree with you more, Dr. Carr. Listen, but we're not waiting for any particular organization to set the agenda. Am I right, Reese? Because Black Women United, it was every organization and no organization. We just asked for meetings and got them, right? Because you can make your own collective if you've got the power. So if you believe you have numbers, if you believe you have something to say, get with like-minded people. Don't have the excuse that you're waiting for the NAACP, and I'm not dogging them, they do great work. Don't make it be the excuse that you're waiting for the Urban League. I'm not dogging them. They do great work. But if you are not affiliated with their work and you believe you have something to say, get your people with two people. And come up with what you want to make sure makes it in. We're in that magic transition period now. So who's going to be in those important appointments?
So y'all, here's the deal.
Roland, can I jump in though?
No, hold on. I'm going to go to you 1 second. So here's the deal, y'all. There are a whole bunch of trolls on our YouTube page, and normally we delete them. I'm not going to delete them because fuck all of you. I'm not going to delete them because I want to see your tears. I want to see your crying. I want to see your whining. So I'm just going to let y'all sit there and have to just suck this up. Because first of all, if you think you hopping on my feed and you making us feel bad, no, y'all just look stupid. Because guess what? Your boy about to be packing. Your boy about to get evicted. And guess what? We don't need him to invite Joe to the White House. We don't need him going to the inauguration. He can take his ass back to Mar-a-Lago. In fact, he don't need to even be there between now and January. Gone to your golf course in Ireland and all of that. So I'm gonna let y'all cry on here and let my followers just light y'all up. Reese, go right ahead.
No, actually, what I was gonna say, I have a slightly different tune than the rest of you. Because I think that it would be wise, and particularly for Black people, to do what they didn't do enough of, in my opinion, and that is really galvanize behind Senator Kamala Harris. If you actually look at her track record, which I am the encyclopedia on, She really has always had, and in terms of her legislative career, a lens towards intersectionality, and particularly the things that benefit Black women, like for instance, Black maternal mortality. She was the first one to introduce a bill to try to end that discrepancy. As a senator, she introduced the Uterine Fibroids and Research Act, and so on and so forth. And the COVID Racial and Ethnic Disparities Task Force, that is the #1 pressing crisis in our country. And in particular, it's impacting Black people. It went from 1 in 1,000 Black people as of September who have died from COVID to, by October, 1 in 920. And so if we really, instead of treating it, and listen, they are a team, be clear. And I think that Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, has made it clear that he plans to partner with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, but she is our seat at the table. And so instead of how we typically, and I mean, you know, collectively as a community, we typically look at politicians in a completely adversarial way. Let's partner with her. She has partnered with so many organizations throughout her legislative career. If you look at any of her press releases, there's always a slew of organizations on any particular issue, particularly Black organizations. And so we have a seat at the table. Instead of being completely adversarial towards it, let's really work and really put our political win behind Kamala Harris's back, and we will see more things happen. And last thing I'll say is, one of the things, now granted, Joe Biden is going to be the president, okay? He is the man. He's the one who can issue executive orders. But one thing that was often overlooked in Senator Kamala Harris's policies when she was running for president is she had a lot of policies that took into mind, what if Mitch McConnell is still the majority leader? And so she had a lot of executive orders baked into her policies. And so that's an opportunity. At least we don't know what's going to happen in Georgia. Lord willing, we'll get those 2 seats and she'll be the tiebreaker. But I think that she has that, at least that competency and that ability to communicate priorities through to Vice President Joe Biden. Obviously, he has 8 years of experience being President Obama's right hand. But I think really that she's going to push the envelope. But we can help her push the envelope if we actually galvanize behind her, because I don't think that there's as much work to do policy-wise as people expect. As a person who has combed over every single policy that she's had, and when people say what they want, it's already there in her policies. So I don't think that we have a large bridge to go in terms of policy, particularly with Senator Kamala Harris, but we have to be strategic in how we push our politicians. So if we galvanize and we support Senator Kamala Harris, who, by the way, the campaign against her in 2024 has already started, okay? And so she's gonna be under siege from day one. And so that's where I think we can really leverage all of this power that we've displayed that we have undeniably, and really get behind her. I'm not saying co-sign everything that she does, but I'm just saying where we know for a fact that she has these priorities, let's put some political wind behind her back to help push Joe, because I think we all know and recognize that Joe is way more moderate, way more centrist, and you know, he doesn't have as much intersectionality in terms of his policy history that Senator Kamala Harris, well, Vice President Kamala Harris does. So that's where I'm gonna.
Well, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. Okay, all of that's fine, but let's just be real clear. None of that means a damn thing if Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff are not elected senator in Georgia. Because the reality is this here. Democrats control the House, 227 votes, okay? Bottom line, Greg, Monique, and Reese, is that if the Democrats do not get control of the United States Senate, it's gonna be split. You're gonna have Mitch McConnell doing whatever the hell he wants to do. If Ossoff and Warnock are able to win, it's a 50-50 tie. Then Madam Vice President Kamala Harris actually breaks the tie. You know what? Hold up. Here's the deal. I'm not calling her Madam Vice President. She's Vice President, because we don't say male Vice President. She's Vice President. So Vice President Kamala Harris will be breaking the tie.
Mr. Vice President, Madam Vice President.
No. I'm saying that for a reason. But first of all, you can say. First of all, I don't even say Mr. President. I just say President, and I call Donald. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. I think what has to happen here, Greg, is, and I've been saying this to these white progressives who have been whining, to Black folks as well, especially all these damn Bernie people, and then to the people who are attacking Project Lincoln. I mean, the Lincoln Project. Yo, Y'all, the inauguration is in January. There are 2 elections before then. All of the focus needs to be on Georgia. And what I said on the show last night, Greg, and I meant every word of it. I don't want to hear from Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or anybody in Washington, D.C. Our general patent in Georgia is Stacey Abrams. And I want the campaign man, I want Stacey Abrams and the campaign managers of Warnock and Ossoff to give the marching orders, because they have to run to win Georgia, not anybody else. And so it's all about keeping folks focused. And so if people are out there, our energies need to be on that, because if we're able to win those 2 seats, then you can execute an agenda. Otherwise, this is all Mitch McConnell is going to do for 4 years.
Can I also jump in too? Because I think people are overlooking Congresswoman Lucy McBath. She actually flipped a red district, okay? And she just won re-election by an even larger margin. So when we're talking about a winning electoral strategy, we should also be absolutely looking to what Lucy McBath was able to accomplish, not once, but twice. Mind you, the person that Lucy McBath defeated was a person that John Ossoff lost to. And so I definitely think that Lucy McBath needs to be a much more part of the conversation when it comes to Georgia. But I do agree that everybody else outside of Georgia needs to back off and put all of their resources and their capital behind the people on the ground who know what the hell they're doing.
Greg?
Right, but the thing
Well,
that I
hold
want
on one second. Greg, okay, I want to make sure Greg still can hear us.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I'll just make sure audio. Go ahead.
Can I go? Okay, so the thing that Reese said before that was so important that I think connects with the Georgia election is where Momnibus is concerned, right? Where the Black women mortality, does anybody know where the highest Black mom mortality rate is? It's right there in Georgia. Hello, Georgia. Everything connects. If you want for Senator Harris, soon to be Vice President Harris, to be able to be pushing through legislation that has already been introduced, legislation that's ready to go, then this election becomes that much more important. Your women, your Black women are dying because they have to drive cities to get to the closest hospital in rural Georgia. They're dying because they don't have the care that they need, right? Close to them. They can't go down the street for a patient first like we can in the city. And Stacey Abrams highlighted that when she was running for governor. Senator Harris highlighted that. Those things are important. Now, the numbers are bad across the nation, but the highest numbers are right there where we need to help you all elect 2 senators that are going to then give us a tie-breaking majority in the Senate and sit Mitch McConnell down on his RSA where he belongs so that we can get some things done. And I agree in part with you, Reese. I disagree in part because you know what? Joe Biden is about to be president. Since he was a successful vice president is because he pushed in private and he supported in public the agenda of President Barack Obama. I want to make sure that our president represents us, that our president is hearing what is important to us, that our president knows, bruh, we got you there and we stand with you and we stand for you, but we will be unheard. And I'm not saying that as an enemy. I'm saying that as somebody who fully supports you. But it's support with a demand on it.
But here's the deal though. Here's the deal though. Okay, but you can't make a demand unless you are organized in doing so. And so here's the deal. Here's the piece. And this is the thing that Greg Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, spoke about this. He said, you cannot show me anybody who has been able to achieve anything, Ice Cube, without you being a part of a Black organization.
That's right.
What Stokely Carmichael was making it perfectly clear, y'all. The video is out there where he said you cannot achieve anything as a standalone, as an individual. You have to be a part of an organization. And Greg, I think that's important when we start talking about agendas and presentations. I said this to Diddy. I said it to Cube. You can't act like you're out here a lone wolf. You got to have some troops who are behind you.
Question, and to our entertainers who picked the wrong side, not because, well, with the exception of Curtis Jackson, who seemed that he was protecting his bank account, not with the idea of individual advancement, because they truly want to see the advance of our people. You know, in terms of healing, that's the healing that we can do in the Black community, in the sense that y'all just picked the wrong thing. It was a question of timing. Now we need to move forward. As Reese said, read the Lift Every Voice plan and see how much of what Cube you were talking about is already in there, that kind of thing. So that's on them. But Roland, I couldn't agree more with our sisters on the importance of knowing what we are after and knowing how our organizations and organizing independent of those organizations and in concert with them will get us advanced. What do I mean by that? We've got a 24-month window. The clock started when this was called. What does that mean? We know Nancy Pelosi is not going to concede any ground to Stacey Abrams. She, like I said, she's already running her mouth on this center kind of thing. So she not gonna listen to Reese's sage advice. Did you see? In fact, she ain't gonna listen to Lucy McBath. But that's irrelevant. See, Stacey Abrams has already demonstrated the playbook. And when you see a McBath who was concerned about re-election, not only see the Democrats might call it overperform. No, that is the direction these people are going. Understand that it's not even the single digits anymore. The 16-year-olds in this country are all 16-year-olds and younger are already majority non-white. This is mind-blowing to people. See, the Republicans know what they're doing. The Democrats are chasing these white people. But let me just say this very quickly. Since this 24-month window has started, the first thing our folks in California need to have done, if they haven't done it already, where's the short list for the woman that's going to replace now Vice President Kamala Harris? Is it Karen Bass? Is it Barbara Lee? Is it Maxine Waters? That's something that we need to be doing right now. So you don't get that seat to no white man. No, don't get that seat needs to be filled.
Karen Bass. I here's what I do. I think it'll be Karen Bass. First of all, Karen Bass is former Speaker of the House in California. Second of all, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congresswoman, because Democrats control the House, Maxine Waters is over the House Financial Services Committee. So she holds that powerful gavel. If she goes to the Senate, then she doesn't hold any power or a chair on any of those committees. That's right. And so I certainly think Barbara Lee, the reason I'm saying Karen Bass, because I think they're also factoring in. I think I look at those deals there in terms of those two, but I certainly think Bass and Lee, but also the mayor of San Francisco is a name that we've heard, London Breed. Yep. Gavin Newsom is very close to as well, but you're absolutely right. When you start talking about political power, begin to say, Harris won, but we ain't gonna have a United States Senate with no black woman in it.
Right.
They
already started with Katie Porter.
That was why they elevated her during the VP selection anyway.
Agreed.
I mean,
but again, the only way that happens is if we're talking about organization. And so what I'm saying to everybody who's watching, because we've almost got 10,000 folks on YouTube watching, more than 2,000 who are on Facebook right now, that the issue that we're still dealing with is that it's organizational power. Right. And that to me is, and also, and let me throw this out to y'all as well, because I think it's also two different meetings. So let me tell you, I think what's going to go down. I think you're going to have your traditional meeting. I think Sharpton is going to organize a meeting with the NAACP, the National Urban League, NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, National Coalition of Black Civic Participation, and maybe one more. I think that's going to be that meeting.
Sure. But
there should be a second meeting. And that second meeting should be Until Freedom. It should be NAACP Youth Division, Tiffany Lofton. It should be Black Features Lab. It should be Million Hoodies March. It should be Bruce Franks or Ted Poe. Reason I'm saying that is I want African Americans to really hear me loud and clear. I absolutely appreciate the work of our traditional civil rights organizations. But I think what we have to do is we have to stop going to the meeting with these large groups. No. The civil rights people should have a meeting. Right. The grassroots activists should have a meeting. The black economic experts should have a separate meeting. Your black health folks should have a separate meeting. See, I'm talking about, I don't want, and look, it ain't hating and stating. I don't want the civil rights people going to the White House having a black economic meeting, because that ain't what y'all do.
That's what they're going to do. You know I'm rolling.
Well, no. But I'm telling the black economic people, saying, no. We want a separate meeting where we only talking about economics. The civil rights meeting ain't the same as the economic meeting.
That's right. And in fact, let me say this very quick, Roland. In the 24-hour, in that 24-month window, is something important to understand. Let's say that they flip those two seats and it's 50-50. It's not 50-50 because Joe Manchin can't.
Joe Manchin, yep, Joe Manchin.
And Kelly he's got to run in 2 years to be reelected out of Arizona.
Well, and also the other Arizona senator, no
question, they can't be trusted. So I'm saying that first 24 months, let's assume, as Reese has said, the stuff that is baked in to policy that Kamala Harris has that relies on executive order, that's where you got to push Biden. And I would say very quickly in that regard, immigration, the consent decrees immediately. The AP got to restore them, everything you can do with executive order, and then the cabinet positions. Listen, Barack Obama, bruh, good job. Now go sit down somewhere. You don't have any advice on cabinet positions, because when you could have appointed Linda Darling Hammond or Lisa Delpit as the Secretary of Education in this country, you picked your basketball buddy. Immediately, we've got to have a list. These are the cabinet positions. Don't be angling with all these centrists, because see, the Democratic Party can't be trusted. We've seen that. And they can't be trusted again. So we have to, what you said, organize power, which must squash enough of the beef between the legacy civil rights organizations, the elected politicians, because even I'm hearing now Clyburn today warning people against going too far left. Okay, you're an elder, all respect, bruh, but let's be very clear. We got to squash enough of the external conversation to get you in the room with these young people, because I'm going to tell you right now, you could have been one step closer to flipping the Senate if y'all had put some money in Mike Espy, but y'all don't believe in black people. So later now, for the old conversations and the Democrats come, and you better not, and Reese, I'm so happy to hear you say this about Senator Harris, Vice President Harris, you better not try to fix your mouth to send Vice President Harris in to calm the Negroes down if they get a little too rowdy. Because see, we know how y'all play. We've got since the 1960s on how the Democrats play this game, and certainly since Bill Clinton. And if you study your history, you know that's the move they're going to next. They've already previewed it. And Andrew Yang on CNN talking about reconciliation. We remember Reconstruction. There is no healing in this nation because it ain't no nation. White people have voted against humanity, and black and other people voted for humanity. So all this healing talk, all this purple talk, all this red state, no blue states, United States, shut up. Because at this point, we've got to advance our interest, and we've demonstrated that with this election.
The thing that I want to bring in Michael Imhotep right now from Detroit. Michael, Detroit plays such a huge role in delivering Michigan. I did a TV show, Let It Rip, with my frat brother, Hewell Perkins, and boy, they had all these Republicans on there. They said Donald Trump was gonna roll through Macomb County like a hurricane, like a tornado, and they were gonna deliver. And I was sitting there like, and I told him, I said, all y'all gonna get your asses whooped, because again, he can roll through Macomb County all he wants, through a tornado, a hurricane. I said, it's gonna be a tsunami of blackness coming out of Detroit. And that is exactly what we saw that put Joe Biden over the top in Michigan.
Absolutely, man. And once again, thanks for having me on, Roland. Thanks for doing this. Shout out to Dr. Greg Carr as well, my friend, Dr. Greg Carr. How you doing, brother? So, you know, you played that clip of evangelist Paula White talking about the African angels coming. The African angels did come, but it wasn't the ones that they thought were going to come. Okay. I think the spirit of Toussaint Louverture, I think the spirit of Bookman Dada and Jean-Jacques Dessalines, I think the spirit of Nat Turner, I think they played a role in this, because when we vote, we don't vote because our ancestors died for the right to vote. We have to understand the difference, because if you do that, you could be electing people who are working to dismantle the legacy that your ancestors fought for. We learn those lessons and understand why they were voting in, and they understood the power that it had. But we vote for policies that impact us today and in the future. Dr. Greg Carr just mentioned Reconstruction. Well, today's the anniversary of the 1876 presidential election, where Rutherford B. Hayes did not get enough electoral college votes to become president, which then led to the Compromise of 1877, and the Republicans agreed to remove the Union troops out of the South to allow Rutherford B. Hayes to become president. This is what ended Reconstruction. So as you said, Brother Roland, as I said on my show last night in the broadcast I did today for 2.5 hours, this has to be a third Reconstruction. This next 4 years right here, brother, this has to be a third Reconstruction, because and there's no guarantee in the 2022 midterm elections that Democrats will maintain control of the House of Representatives. We hope they do. So these next 2 years are crucial. All these policies, and I spent 2.5 hours going through the Lift Every Voice plan again with my listeners, with my viewers at the African History Network. Everybody needs to read this. This is not a ceiling, this is a floor. But this is what we hold them accountable to. Okay, we helped you win, we push you over the top, damn it. All this stuff that you promised up, all this we negotiated, we wanted a return on our investment. It's time to pay up.
The thing here again, and I know people who are watching are like, why does he keep going back to this same tune, Reese? Because you don't win the presidency unless you have an organization. Mm-hmm. And I think that what has happened is, to Greg's point also about, mollifying African Americans. Well, here's the deal: you may think you're gonna mollify the group over there, but then the group over here gonna come back. And that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to say. I think we have to make that perfectly clear. And I think the opportunity, to me, there's no greater opportunity. And I believe the proper word, you're absolutely right, Greg, is reconstruction, not reconciliation. Mm-hmm. And I've been saying, Reese, consistently, Reconstruction, third Reconstruction. And this is the moment. This is the moment to actually take advantage of that. But you cannot take advantage of any of this unless you are organized and mobilized to be able to say, we will put boots on the ground. We will put 5,000 folks in front of the White House. We will send 5,000 people to Capitol Hill to lobby every single House member and every single senator. That sort of has to be the thinking, which is why when I talk about what's going to happen in Georgia, same thing, organization. And so Poor People's Campaign and Black Voters Matter and Until Freedom and NAACP and all these entities, this is an opportunity to me where you marshal these forces so you don't have any overlap and you're hitting every corner of Georgia to drive the agenda. Mobilization and organization is going to be important for Black America once they get sworn in.
Absolutely. But you also have to remember that there's a big court case coming up, which is the ACA ruling in the Supreme Court. Yep. That's supposed to be happening this week. That could potentially change the trajectory of this election and create a bigger incentive for people to go out there and vote Mitch McConnell out of the majority, very basically. True. Now, I'm hoping that that's not the deciding factor, because that would likely mean that ACA is wiped away by the Supreme Court. But there are a lot of variables between now that could, create more galvanization in the direction of Democrats, but you have to be organized. I'm very encouraged by the fact that it was actually absentee ballots that put Joe Biden and Kamala Harris over the hump. I know a lot of people were saying, don't vote by absentee, go vote in person. I was saying, no, it's fine to vote by absentee, just fill it out properly and drop it off. So I think that we have expanded the electorate down in Georgia without a doubt. The problem is that typically in these special elections, what we see is a drop off. And what we've also seen in this election is we've seen that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have gotten the most votes in history, but the second most votes went to Donald Trump. So the Republican base is activated. They will be activated as well, even more, to be a check on the Biden-Harris administration. And so we have to understand that we have to be, like you said, you have to be mobilized, you have to organize. The Democrats need to get their messaging that much more tight. I've been talking about the kind of the way that they're a little bit weak on messaging, in my opinion, to our base, particularly when it comes to the economy and to COVID. You know, Atlanta, Georgia's wide open. Okay. And so you're going to have to communicate in a message that resonates with them, that doesn't sound like you're going to shut down the economy and cost them jobs and things like that. And so I think that there's a lot of work to be done in a very short period of time, but all hands on deck will be on Georgia. Hopefully, like I said, it will be as a support and not as too many chiefs and not enough, you know, I don't want to say the rest of that saying, you know, anyway, but you get my drift. But another thing I want to introduce to the conversation is it's not just putting pressure on the Democrats. We've only talked about putting pressure on the Democrats. We need to put pressure on the Republicans as well. There are a lot of red seats, Republican seats, that are up to Dr. Carr's point in 2022. That's that 24-month agenda where those folks are going to be much more endangered, hopefully, if we all stay activated, than these folks. We were playing on Republican territory in this election. Alabama, all these other places, those were going to be hard seats, damn near impossible to win. It was going to take massive galvanization and things like that, and Republicans flipping. So we have to always keep in mind that we don't just pressure one party. One party is getting our votes because we're aligned with their interests, but we still have to hold the Republicans' feet to the fire as well. Because if they think that they're just going to be able to obstruct the way they did under the Obama administration, that's exactly what they're going to do. So we have to pressure everybody. But the last thing I want to say is, to your point, I completely agree with you that the civil rights organization doesn't just speak for all of the policy agenda. I think we talked about this on Thursday. The Black community is not a monolithic community. We need to talk about all aspects of that. I'm going to be the one again to put, you know, and you guys can hold me to it. I've seen where Senator Kamala Harris understands that, because each of her policies, economic policy, climate change policy, I can go on down the list. She's always partnered with Black organizations. And another thing, the last thing I'll say is that organizations also have to be strategic too. The one thing I could say about the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, they do the work. They don't just have the people who are, you know, riling people up on Twitter and on social media. They do the work. So if you're going to be an organization and you're going to be taken seriously, you got to put some work in. You can't just be a flamethrower, because then you're going to get written off, and that's going to be that. You're just going to be mad. So there's a lot that has to go into it, but let's keep everybody accountable, and let's not eat our own when it comes to at least the next 2 months.
I do want to talk about, Monique, again, the moment that we are in. And as you see the reaction from people, as you see the folks in the streets in New York and DC, I mean, massive numbers who are gathering as well. And I'm sure you got the folks who lost, who are mad, they still threatening lawsuits and all stuff along those lines. But the reason that's important, because really, when you think back the last 4 years, when you think about how this nation accepted nasty, sick, despicable as being okay. When I look at the endorsements of Brett Favre and Jack Nicklaus,
Yes, sir.
and when I go back, when I broke it down the other day, this I can look past these things. And these folks who are saying that we need to reach out, this is where I'm like, no, that one's not gonna fly, because I simply can't reach out when you are so willing to accept racism, when you are so willing to accept the level of nastiness towards Muslims, when you're willing to accept 545 kids being snatched out of parents' arms and they don't even know how to locate them. I'm sorry, I can't look past that.
Well, I'm not obligated to look past it. If you were attacking my own family, if there were just 5 houses in the neighborhood and someone was wreaking havoc and terrorizing every house but yours because there was a Black house, a brown house, and a Jewish house and a gay house, and you were the only white house, and you didn't care about what happened to us, I wouldn't look past it. You would get removed, as we did here, and then you would take this medicine. So there's not going to be any. I'm not interested in those conversations. And the fact of the matter is, what the Black people did in this election is good for this country. As I said the other day, we had an obligation to do it because it was required. It was good for us, but it is also right, and it is righteous, and it is just, and it is fair. We are pushing for equality. We are pushing for the types of things that will ultimately benefit everybody. And if these ignorant people who were voting for Trump had any sense of history and could look past their own hatred, they would recognize that too. They didn't even realize they were too filled with hate to understand the way they were prospering under the Obama administration.
Right.
Instead, they elected a certified fool. Well, look, no, you've shown me who you are. If anybody's gonna have a conversation, you're gonna come talk to me.
Right. And see, and I tweeted this out. Michael. I tweeted this out. I said, hey, Mika and Joe, I look forward to seeing the multiple panels of saying it's time for them to listen to us. Because we saw a whole lot of that crap. I swear, if I saw Michael Moore's ass on TV one more time, talking about how we need to talk to the people in Michigan, his people. When them white folks gonna come talk to Detroit?
Exactly. They came and talked to Detroit these past few days. They were down there protesting.
When are they going to talk to Flint? When they gonna talk to Kalamazoo? When they gonna talk to Lansing? See, here's my whole deal. It's like our story. We got to make them comfortable. No, hell no. You got to bring your ass over here now.
Right. Well, see, this is part of the problem. And see, y'all know I'm neither Democrat nor Republican, but I'm not stupid either. I study policy. I know whose policies are more beneficial for us usually, and who's blocking those policies. But see, this is one of the problems, right? You mentioned Michael Moore, and I watch him at MSNBC, and I said, when they gonna stop bringing this white boy on here talking all this stuff? Because you have to come talk to African Americans about our issues. This goes back to the conversation we had yesterday about Bob Johnson. Bob Johnson won't come talk to Black media, but he's on CNBC talking about how Trump's policies are more beneficial for Black people. No, they're not. They're beneficial for you. But because of his tax cuts, they're beneficial for you, and you have access to the White House. They have been devastating for African Americans, but he won't come talk to African American media. So what we have to do, brother, this really, when we talk about a third Reconstruction, it ain't just dealing with policy. It's dealing with all this stuff. We got to put pressure on MSNBC and CNN, because you have to talk to African American experts. Dealing with these issues, okay? African American experts, not a white film director who sometimes talks about African American issues. I still don't know why they bring Michael Moore on. I still don't, I guess maybe he appeals to their audience or something like that. But I'm like, no. We have to have our policy experts on, not of course on Roland Martin Unfiltered. You do an excellent job with that, but on CNN, MSNBC, even Fox, to set the record straight there as well, because Fox influences the way people think, and they put pressure on their elected officials to vote against these policies that are not just beneficial to us, but also beneficial to a lot of people that watch Fox News.
Again, I mean, I just got a kick out of that, Greg. I mean, I swear, we really need to listen to them. Listen to their economic anxiety. Listen to how they feel. All right, I'm waiting for those conversations. I can't wait for Chris Hayes to do a town hall in Black Atlanta, like they did in West Virginia on the opioid crisis. No, I mean, see, that's my whole deal. I mean, I can't wait to see CNN and Jake Tapper and Anderson Cooper go back to Flint. I can't wait to see them go to the Native American reservations in Arizona. Go talk to the Latinos in Arizona. See, again, in the history of this country, we've always had to make white folks feel comfortable talking about what's going on. Now I'm like, no, y'all got to bring your asses over here. I think back, Greg, to Malcolm X, when that white woman walked up to him at the university and said, Mr. X, I understand your cause. I want to help you with your cause. And what can I do? He said nothing. And now he later wrote, some of y'all might say Alex Haiti wrote it. It wasn't Malcolm. But the bottom line is he said in the book, you can debate it later, he said, I wish I told her, I don't need your help with my people. I need you to go back to deal with your people.
Yeah, Roland, Monique said something a second ago that really captures the essence of what we're facing. She said, we voted in this election with us in mind, what was best for us, but we also voted what was right, what was just. The countries we live in are artificial. Human social arrangements are created by human beings. The nation state is a recent phenomenon in world history, and this is a settler state, meaning it was never intended that we'd be having this conversation. We're supposed to be working in the death camps. The Native Americans are supposed to be dead. Most of the white people in this country are descended from people who immigrated here after the state was established. But the thing that they're clinging to is whiteness. And so, Monique, your point you raised, sis, is really the crux of the issue. And after we get out of here, I'm going to spend a lot of time reading and thinking tonight, because what these people have to give up is their whiteness.
Yes.
Joe and Mika are white nationalists. Joe has already started trying to rehabilitate his Republican friends because he never left them. They were friends with Donald Trump. They were offended by his vulgarity. They were terrified of the prospect that he could undermine the state they live in. This is about American nationalism, which has always been about white supremacy. But when I think about the fact that, and maybe see, this is the interesting thing with this election. 2020 may be too soon, but you're always talking about the reckoning. There is going to be a reckoning, but the United States of America, I don't expect, I always say this, and I mean, I'm not the only one. I don't expect the United States to be here much longer in its current conflagration, and it's the way it's constituted now, because whiteness is so valuable a resource that a majority, looking at that's the poll in the last couple of days, a majority of white people who voted for Donald Trump, an overwhelming majority said that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would be more prepared to deal with the coronavirus, meaning they literally voted to pick their whiteness over their lives. And so what we're seeing in Georgia with Stacey Abrams, for example, and all those women and men who are around her, we're seeing Black people awakening, a new generation, because previous generations knew it. A new generation of Black folk are awakening to their political power. Mike, my dear brother, what these young people did in Detroit, I'm getting reports out of Detroit from my very good friends. One of my friends, Lethea Watkins, who teaches at Howard, known her for 30, we went to law school together. Her mother was an election judge. Her mother reporting she's in there sitting next to young people who've never been in the process, who went down and got trained as judges. And you know what they know now? Hell, I can be in here verifying signatures and counting votes. I ain't never leaving this room again.
There you go.
Pelosi will never understand. And what Stacey Abrams has tapped into is not a D or an R, it's Black self-determination. And Reese Sisters, as I say, I think you're absolutely correct. Kamala Harris has a moment now. And maybe it was going to be 2024 or 2034, but with the tipping point, she's got to seize this Black thing, and this DNR piece, you're gonna have to move, because if not, if Stacey Abrams plays this right in 24 months runs and becomes the governor of Georgia, I expect a primary challenge in 2024. And it may be then that the Pelosi's and the Schumers realize this ain't your tool anymore, because these people that have been brought into the process, they ain't got no allegiance to your country or your whiteness. It's over.
Reese, I gotta ask you this one. Donald Trump tweeted this: 71 million legal votes, the most ever for a sitting president. Yeah, but you also the first president to lose in 28 years. I love, I got that's like, look, that's like the Falcons saying, yeah, we were up 28-3 the third quarter. Yeah, but your ass lost.
Well, like I said in the primaries, there goes that white math. White math says you get fewer numbers, but you somehow better than the person who Black and got some numbers. So yeah, 71 ain't enough, boo. It ain't enough. Bye-bye. See you later. Bye. Okay. it is what it is. And the genius part about all of this is that, one of the things that was never fully investigated in 2016 is what the hell happened to those voting machines. I think for the sake of democracy and for the sake of not wanting to have panic in there, everybody just moved along, even though there was ample evidence that, we know for a fact that at least Russia had successfully hacked the voter databases. So there is no way of knowing really the legitimacy of Donald Trump's electoral college victory in 2016. But here we go with these millions and millions and millions of absentee ballots, and you can't hack a ballot. And so whatever they thought they were doing on election day, if they were able to pull anything off, like we think they might have in 2018 in Florida, where there was some sketchy stuff that, again, it gets brushed under the rug, the absentee ballots came through. So there's a paper trail, Donald Trump, at least for the things that's put Joe and Kamala over the top. We don't know what got you to what the numbers that you have. So if we want to talk about legitimacy, but it is what it is. We don't have to question the legitimacy because Kamala and Joe won. Deal with it. Now, the question is, how long is it going to take Melania to get the hell up out of there? Because you got another outbreak in the White House with Mark Meadows walking around the White House residence without no kind of mask with hundreds of people. So that's what you need to worry about. You need to worry about your wife and what she's doing and how fast she's going to hightail the hell out the doggone White House and get the hell off of Twitter. That's what I would suggest for Donald Trump. Soon to be ex-president, one-term president Donald Trump.
So I saw this tweet. I just saw this tweet. So Sonny Johnson, she's a Republican, sister, black woman's Republican. She tweeted this, and I'm not quite sure who Sonny's talking about. She said they aren't even taking the Georgia Senate seat seriously. Y'all have no idea what's about to come to Georgia, and y'all aren't ready. Learn nothing. I'm going to watch Hallmark movies with the little one. And then I think she said they are sending an army to organize. You'll see the mass mobilizing soon. I think she was talking to conservatives, saying, "I don't think you understand what's about to come to Georgia." On that point, I do want to talk about that, Mike. Monique, I'm gonna go to you first, and that is. And I'm gonna keep coming back to that. So look, we can absolutely celebrate. So maybe what we do, this is sort of like what a coach says, we're gonna celebrate the game on Sunday night and Monday, and then we're gonna put the new game plan in on Tuesday. Absolutely celebration right now. But I go back to, there is nothing more important. The race for Senate is January 5th. That's gonna be 2 weeks before the inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
You win those two, then you can actually make the Biden-Harris agenda real.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're dealing with 4 years of gridlock. I think everything for Democrats, for progressives, and for Black people has to be completely focused like a laser on, can we, between now and December 7th, go out and register 100,000 new voters?
Mm-hmm.
Can we go out there and then pull those polling sheets and pull those precincts and see who voted in this election and who didn't, and say we're going to go out there and ramp that up, and then knock on 500,000 doors and make contact via a cell phone or whatever, because those two seats are going to be vital if we are actually to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, the George Floyd Act, things along those lines.
Absolutely. And so that's what I really hoped we could talk about, is some action items, because as you were discussing before, organizing and mobilizing are so important. But when you're talking about getting 5,000 people to be somewhere and do something, when you're talking about signing up 100,000 new voters, we know there's really a finite universe of already in existence organizations who can get that done, who have the infrastructure right now,
Mm-hmm.
who have the funding right now, who have a proven track record, including today, a president-elect and a vice president-elect. So, as Senator Kamala Harris, now Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, always says when talking to little girls and giving them advice, and she gave that same advice to this grown woman, and I'm taking it,
Mm-hmm.
never ask permission to lead. Leaders lead. So the people within our community who are already leaders, we need to give action items to those who are listening now, who are not in that same position, who are sitting there wondering what they can do. So that means safe places for you to donate money for Warnock and OSOP. That means ways that you can be doing phone banks, which I'm hearing from the Zoom meeting earlier today that they had. That's going to start tomorrow. What people who are able to relocate and go down there, but what organizations should they be working for, and what organizations are just going to be, puffing smoke? So I think it would be great. I'm not giving you a homework assignment, Roland. I'll help. Reese will help. Let's put an organizational list together with trustworthy information for one, why this matters, because everybody's not watching the news 24 hours a day. People are working real jobs with real concerns. They know the Senate was gridlocked, but they don't understand how close we are to changing it and all the different ways that matters. So an information campaign that is well funded, and then organizational sources and ways that any single person can support. I'm on a group chat with some Black women, and we have had some of the most hilarious conversations in the past 5 days, because there are 2 television commentators on there. There's a vice principal of a school on there. There's somebody was retired Army and now has her own business on there. And so if you looked at us, you would think all of us maybe would understand our way around some basic civics. No, not so much. I have explained so much. Me and Michelle Bernard, Roland, have explained so much to our sisters, our well-educated sisters, about what's going to happen in Electoral College, what's going to happen in this state, what's going to happen with these senators, what happens if there's a tie in the Senate, who's going to break the tie vote, does the control actually go to the Senate? Yes, it does. The party in control gets it even if there's a tie. All of these things, people who are well educated do not necessarily understand. So I don't think we can talk above heads and be upset that people don't get involved. I think we meet people right where they are, the way we want people to meet us where we are, and give the 1, 2, 3, 4 of it. That's what I think needs to happen immediately.
And Roland, can I interject real quick? Because I want to just give some key dates for the runoff.
Yeah, go ahead.
November 18th is the deadline to request an absentee ballot. Early vote, the deadline to register to vote in the runoff is December 7th. Again, like Roland said, if you will be 18 by election day on January 5th, then you can register to vote. But also early voting starts December 14th. So like we've seen, elections are not a one-day event. So we have from December 14th through January 5th, and I don't know what the weekend votes are. I don't have that information handy. But starting December 14th, you can go in person, depending on your county, and actually vote. So we don't just have to just galvanize on one day. We should definitely be working to get people out as early as December 14th. We should be working to get people, make sure if you've done an absentee ballot and you're comfortable with it, requested by November 18th and register by December 7th. So those are really important early dates that are coming up almost immediately.
Don't want to hold folks much longer. Michael, give me your final thoughts.
Well, brother, it's this is the end of one chapter, beginning of another chapter. We have to mobilize. January 5th election is critical. And we also have to educate our people on these policies. I see people posting, well, what do we get for voting for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden? Well, this agenda has been out since May 4th. I don't know where the hell you've been. I've been dealing with it on my show since May 2020 when it came out. These are policies that we push through, not just the White House, but also the House of Representatives and the Senate. But we can also start with the 192 executive orders that Donald Trump has signed since he's been in office, because Joe Biden can reverse those and don't need the legislative branch of government to deal with that also. But yeah, it's time to mobilize and educate our people on this and put pressure on this new administration and on the legislative branch of government.
Monique, final comment.
This is an important day, and it's one that we will never, ever forget. And this day was powered by the people. So I am thankful for my daughter and for my sons to see what this country can be, because they've been old enough to observe the darkness that can descend upon a country when justice and fairness and equality and goodness and decency do not prevail. But I am glad to see that they can see that we have an answer for that we have the power to control our own destinies. It's not things being done to us and for us. If we engage, then we change our own futures. We save ourselves. And so today is the first day of a future that is much brighter than it was looking some months ago. And I look forward to leaning way in and being involved. And I urge each and every one of my brothers and sisters, whatever color, hue, nationality, race, sexual orientation you are, we need you. If you talking straight, I'm talking back to you. That's all.
Reese.
I have to say again, congratulations to Vice President-elect Senator Kamala Harris. Today is a historic day. It's a day of celebration, and it proves that Black women are electable, okay? It also proves that women are electable. And just as Shirley Chisholm made it such that Senator Vice President-elect Kamala Harris saw what she's capable of, now, no matter who you want to talk about, you can talk about a Stacey Abrams, you can talk about an AOC, you can talk about a whoever. But it's Senator Kamala Harris that has placed her stamp in history that will make any other woman of any race credible as a candidate from this day forward. She is peerless in history as the highest ranking woman to ever hold office in this country. And so I completely salute her. I celebrate her. I will continue to amplify her. I will continue to make sure she gets her roses and her just due. She will not be written out of the conversation. She will not be marginalized out of the conversation, because we have, for the first time ever, a woman, a Black woman, a woman of South Asian descent that will hold the second highest office in this land. And that matters.
Greg Carr.
Absolutely. We were not brought here to be in any of this. We were supposed to work. And once we fought our way out of that, we were supposed to leave or get put out or die. Well, we're having more babies than white people are. Their death rate is exceeding their birth rate. And we're at an event horizon. The daughter of an Indian who comes out of a resistance struggle as her country was just being born as a modern nation, and a father whose home country was fighting its way out of colonialism, who were part of a study group out there in the Bay Area called the Afro-American Association that was about as far left as you could. They so far left, they were right. Had two daughters, one of whom is a heartbeat away, maybe a half a heartbeat away from the presidency of the United States of America. That is not the plan George Washington and his slave master friend. So I remember 8 years ago, we were at Crampton Auditorium and the fire marshal said, "You Negroes got to get out of here because it's 10,000 more y'all supposed to be in here," when they called the last state with Barack Obama. And I don't care what the politics are. When you got young people together like that, when they called it, we turned the television off and poured libation. We can't do that today. Understanding that women gave birth to every human being that will ever walk the planet. But on a day when we have to be physically separated from each other, let's just at least pause. We'll start with the politics again, but let's pause and recognize that not only was this not the plan, this is damn near as close as you can get to not the plan.
Right.
So as our sister Monique has said, now it's up to us. And y'all listen to Reese. Go and read the website. We'll start with the fight, but tonight, take a deep breath and thank all the ancestors for getting us one step closer to untangling ourselves from the mess they recruited us into. And shout out to Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States of America.
Let me say this here. So for a lot of people, it's been very interesting over the last 72 hours to see people talk about the numbers of Black men who voted for Trump. Let me say this because it is factual. The two highest groups who voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, two groups who put them in office, who voted against Donald Trump, 91% Black women, 80 in that Edison poll, A lot of people have cast doubt on that. But anywhere from 80 to 85% of black men voted for Biden Harris. Let me repeat that because I think it's important. Black men, black women, and black men outvoted every group: white men, white women, Latino men, Latina women, Asian American men and women, Native American men and women, black women and black men voted for them at a higher rate than anybody else. I used the hashtag in 2016. We tried to tell you. And we tried to tell you in 2020. And we're going to tell you again in 2024.
Yes.
And if you want to understand how to truly make this nation a more perfect union, you better listen and trust black people. Because we understand what we're talking about. And the last thing is this here. This, as Michael said, this is the end of one process and it's the beginning of another. Mm-hmm. Voting is the end of one process and the beginning of another. It is going to require you to fight. It's going to require you not to now just go off into your corner of the world and say everything is fine and dandy and they got it. No, it is going to require you to fight. And I'm sitting here rocking this Alpha jersey. My frat brother Greg is right there. And this is very simple. And this is what Vertner Woodson Tandy, one of the 7 jewels of Alpha Phi Alpha, said in the 1930s. He said, we will fight until hell freezes over, and then we will fight on the ice. That is the message I have for every MAGA person and every Trump person and all of y'all who are standing in the way of progress. John Lewis put in his time. Joseph Lowry put in his time. C.T. Vivian put in his time. So many others, they put in their time. This is our time, and we'll be damned that is as screwed up as it used to be for our children's children. If you think we've had a fight so far, you ain't seen nothing yet. Folks, I want all of y'all to enjoy this weekend, enjoy the victory, and please, you are more than happy to wash your clothes in the bed of MAGA tears. Since Donald Trump lost, it's okay. I will see y'all on Monday on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Thank you for watching us. Y'all take care.
All right.
Holla!
Blue fine.
Boy, you better go on with